The UN Human Rights Chief says justice must be served for the grave violations of international law committed in Gaza. Hello, welcome to the programme. We begin with a call for a due reckoning for horrific violations in Gaza that the UN says may amount to genocide. Its Human Rights Office says it's verified the personal details of people killed in Gaza and says close to 70% are women and children. The UNHCR has examined Israeli attacks within a 6-month window and says the figure indicates a systematic violation of protection for civilians. In the report, it calls for justice to be served for the grave Israeli violations of international law.
The report raises concerns about the actions of the Israeli Defense Forces with respect to forcible transfer, attacks on hospitals in apparent systematic fashion, and journalists. It also points to the reported use of white phosphorus munitions. The International Court of Justice, in its series of orders on provisional measures, underscored the international obligations of Israel to prevent, protect against, and punish acts of genocide and associated prohibited conduct. It is essential that there is due reckoning with respect to the allegations of serious violations of international law through credible and impartial judicial bodies, and that in the meantime all relevant information and evidence are collected and preserved.
In more than a year of war, Gaza's Ministry of Health says over 43,500 Palestinians have been killed. At least 17,210 of them are children killed by Israeli strikes, and more than 11,700 are women. The report comes as Palestinians in northern Gaza suffer under a month-long Israeli siege. The Israeli military has cut off access to food and medicine, while civilians live with the constant threat of attack. Gabe, a damning report there from the United Nations on how women and children are paying the price for Israel's war in Gaza.
Yeah, that really is the headline that comes out of this very extensive report. This is it here. It's more than 25 pages long. It's quite detailed. I've been pouring through the details in it, and they are quite grim. As you correctly pointed out, the real troubling headline is that they were able to confirm, out of the deaths that they were able to confirm, 70% being women and children. The breakdown is about 44% children under 18 or under, and about 26% women. Now, the death that they're looking at, some of the most numbers of death are children between 5 and 9 years old. And looking at some more details in this report, the Israeli military often says that they don't target large groups of people. Of course, with our reporters on the ground and what we've been seeing, that clearly is not true. This report reaffirms that that is not true. It says that of what they were able to document, 88% of the deaths came in a situation where 5 or more people were killed. The other thing the Israelis often say is that they don't necessarily target residential buildings. Not true. This report reaffirms, again, what our reporters in Gaza have been reporting for many months now. They say that 80% of those killed died in residential buildings, were killed in residential buildings, apartments, homes, and the such. Another thing I just want to point out here is that this report only looks at 6 months, up until late April. So that is why the overall number, 8,119, is a little less than what the Ministry of Health points out. But this is, again, just what the UN has been able to confirm. The UN continues to say there are thousands of people potentially deceased under the rubble that rescue crews have not been able to get to.